We are going to do something special here because of the work that you've done. To the current players, first thing I did when I got off that plane, I'm sorry I did not rush to come see you. I went to go see them. I thank the coaches for bringing them here, and I thank those players for choosing to be Florida State Seminoles. And as I told them a few minutes ago, they chose to come here, and I chose to be with them. And they are now my players. They are now our future. And I'm so very excited about standing side by side with them as we take each step to getting back to where Florida State football deserves to be.
It took Florida State 5 weeks to hire Mike Norvell. I fucking hate this administration. If you're looking at this face and listening to this voice, you are now tuned in to the best kept secret on YouTube. I am smoking you officially on the hot seat. What are we doing on the hot seat, you ask? Y'all know it, man. Say it with me. We set somebody's ass on fire. Who are we setting on fire today? We're going to bring Florida State back to the hot seat. Still, we want to have a conversation when they hired their new coach, and they did. So without any further ado, paying homage to the ghost to my left and my right shoulder, class is in session. You come for the gospel. And goddamn it, I'm going to give it to you. Florida State officially introduced Mike Norvell Sunday as its new head football coach. And before we get off into this shit, let me give my disclaimer because I feel I'm going to have to say this shit probably 10 times in this show. And I don't even plan on keeping you long this time. I'm not against Mike Norvell. I actually think he's a good coach. I don't think it's a bad hire at all. Let me preference my statements moving forward by continually telling you I don't think this is a bad hire. I think Mike Norvell is a good coach. This isn't going to be a negative show. Now that I've said that shit, let's move on. This is the most important hire in Florida State football history. It's more important because of the direction in which Florida State is headed. Florida State is trending downward, and it has been trending downward for the last 3, you could argue for it. I say 3 seasons. Listen, well documented here on this show, I had a preference. I had 2 coaches, James Franklin and Bob Stoops. It's important that we understand why I wanted James Franklin and Bob Stoops. Not because they were the sexy name. I don't give a shit about that. I'm more about substance and content than being flashy. It's because of what they brought. They brought 2 things I thought were imperative to what's going on in Florida State right now. Number 1, rebuild. I've told you continuously. I've been consistent in this regard. Florida State needs to rebuild. They're in a rebuilding process. If you're going to facilitate to the need of what it takes to rebuild, I would assume that you would bring somebody in who has a reputation of rebuilding. I would assume you would bring somebody in who has, at the very least, had experience in rebuilding. Bob Stoops and James Franklin fit that mold to a T. Second, I think the most important piece is what they would be able to bring, which is leverage. There are a pool of coaches on this side. That pool of coaches consisted of Mike Norvell, consisted of P.J. Fleck, Matt Campbell, so on and so forth. The issue I had with those coaches was not that they weren't good coaches, like the Mark Stoops. It's not that I really didn't like Mark Stoops, but it's not that I didn't like them. They didn't bring leverage. Florida State needs to commit to playing big boy football if we are going to get back, if we're going to ascend to who we were. Florida State, it seems like they just won't fucking do it. Well, if you hire Mark Stoops, or if you hire Mark Stoops, if you hire Bob Stoops, or if you hire a James Franklin, they bring leverage. If they tell you, I want X amount of analysts on both sides of the ball, you're going to have to oblige. If they tell you, this is the staff I want, these are the coaches I want to come with me, you're going to have to pay up. If they tell you, hey, I like to have this amount of resources allocated towards recruiting, if I want the facilities to look like this, you're going to have to oblige. Mike Norvell doesn't bring any type of leverage. He doesn't bring any type of leverage to this conversation. That's my only issue with this. I think he's going to be good for the program, but ask yourself, Is he going to be good or is he going to be great? I can't do shit with good. Fuck good. I want great. I'm not saying, it is my disclaimer. I'm not saying Mike Norvell isn't a good coach. I'm not saying he can't be great. I'm saying right now, with what he has to deal with the administration and the boosters never being fully on the same fucking page, can he be? I don't want to be sitting here 2-3 years from now having the same monkey ass conversation with y'all. If you are not going, and what I've heard lately is, and this is when he was targeted as the man, or it was being leaked that he was a man, which is about 3 or 4 days ago. I'm recording this Monday morning. It was said that if he wins, they'll get behind him. No, you stupid bitch. I don't need you to get behind him down the road. Get behind his ass right now. Build a winner. Build a respectable program. I have a question for you. And I asked this question in a few chat rooms. I asked this question in a few message boards. If Florida State were to hire Mike Norvell, how quickly do you think Florida State will be able to contend with Clemson? That's all I give a fuck about. Clemson has a stranglehold on the ACC, and neck grip isn't loosening anytime soon. I don't know what the fuck they doing up there over there in Clemson, but it's working. Well, I do know. But you have to understand, you're going to have to funnel a certain amount of resources, namely money, into the program to start competing with them. If you are not committed to do that now, why even hire him? Don't set this man up for failure. He didn't come here to be Willie Taggart. And listen, I've been adamant about this from day one. If you were to hire somebody from this pool of coaches, it would be a lateral move. I'm not here to shit on y'all parade. I'm not here to curb any type of excitement you may have. Be excited. Florida State needs something to be excited about. But do not become a prisoner of the moment. Go back to 2017 and compare the feeling and the level of jubilation and bliss to what you see right now in 2019 with this hiring. You look at the resumes, the backgrounds, they're similar somewhat. They're not completely similar with one another, right? But they are similar to a degree. In 2017, I wanted James Franklin. I didn't want Willie Taggart. I thought, hell, this is Florida State. It's a top 6, top 7 job in the country. We're settling if we get Willie Taggart. That's what my mentality was. I have the same mentality now. Although the climate, the landscape at Florida State is different because of the downslide, but at the same token, I thought the brand would still warrant them getting an established head coach. Again, we revert back to what I said previously. We need to rebuild. Mike Norvell has maintained Memphis, and this season they've risen to a height they haven't seen probably ever. I thought Justin Fuente built the program, and I thought Mike Norvell maintained it, but I don't want to take any credit for Mike Norvell because it could have easily went south. It didn't. It streamlined, and it didn't streamline. It had an upward trajectory. So I have to give the man credit where it's due. So I tip my hat to him in that regard. And it seemed as if he's coming in ready to hit the goddamn ground running. It seems as if he has an idea. That's great. You can't hire a motherfucker if he doesn't have an idea or a plan of what needs to get done. My issue is this. He doesn't have a background of rebuilding. That doesn't mean he can't do the job. Here's my disclaimer again. I'm not against Mike Norvell. I don't think he's a bad coach. I think it was a good hire. But I think as it relates to listen, he's walking into an entirely different buzzsaw than what Willie Taggart did. There were holes in the roster when Willie Taggart got here. Holes as it relates to wide receiver room was trash. Linebacker room was trash. Offensive line was what it was. Shit, the quarterback room was trash. Probably just didn't find that out fully until later on. Well, one thing you couldn't say about that team, Jimbo Fisher didn't leave the cupboard bare. Willie Taggart was able to walk in here with a good amount of talent. Mike Norvell can't really say that. this roster is going to be piss poor as it stands right now. And I'm pretty sure he's going to have to manage some level of attrition. You're going to have JUCOs come in. You're going to have guys weeded out. You're going to have guys processed out. End of the day, this won't be the talent level of Florida State that we're used to looking at. It's going to be pretty talentless. He's going to have to manage that. He's already behind the 8 ball in that regard. You guys are happy, and I wonder if you guys are happy just because this shit is over with, or you happy because you think Florida State got the right guy. I'm going to say it's the former and not the latter because I remember all of the trains you on. I remember all the hoo-ha you guys had behind Bob Stoops. A lot of you all felt that Mike Norvell would be a step down. I've heard some of you say that you shouldn't cut your teeth at a Power 5 program like Florida State. Go do it somewhere else, then come to Florida State. I'm not really adverse to that way of thinking. I don't have a problem with that. It kind of makes sense to me because Florida State is Florida State. Or it was. I think over the grander scheme of things, like, okay, for example, look at the press conference. I didn't really watch it. I saw excerpts from it. I read a few things about it. I don't give a shit about a press conference, only because you can't win or lose me with the press conference. I have a good idea of what you're going to say, have a good idea of what it's going to sound like. I don't really give a shit about a press conference. Heard he won it. Great. Willie Taggart won it. Willie Taggart knocked that motherfucker out the park. He hopped out the motherfucking truck doing the tomahawk chop. Hell, he mentioned War Daddy's badasses and Lethal Simplicity, and we were sold. You could have stuck a fork in our ass and it came out clean. We were done. We wanted Willie Taggart. He was our guy. That's how that shit ended up, right? So I don't really give a shit about press conferences. A lot of you all, hey, he probably not the guy we wanted, but hey, we got our guy. Let's support him. I don't think like that. And I'm not saying nothing's wrong with you thinking like that, right? I'm not going to tell you how to be a fan. So if that's how you like to walk into the door, fine. I have reservations. I'm not going to blindly support a motherfucking thing, regardless of whom it may be. If James Franklin or Bob Stoops would have waltzed their ass to their door, I wasn't going to initially support them. I'm in the wait and see mode. With everything in life, you have to show and prove with me. Here's an example. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. You watch this channel, you know that. You think I support Jason Garrett? Hell, fuck no. Fuck Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett probably should have been fired about 2 or 3 seasons ago, if we're being honest. I don't support that shit. Doesn't mean I want to see the Dallas Cowboys lose. I like to see them win. I'm an Atlanta Braves fan. When Frank Wren was the general manager, I didn't support Frank Wren. I thought he was a fucking idiot. Frank Wren threw out money like Oprah gave out cars.
You get a car! 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 Everybody gets a car!
He completely tore down. He didn't tear down the farm system. He ignored it. And in the process, it got torn down. It was grossly neglected. Frank Wren fucked Atlanta. Did support John Capella. What up, Copy? Appreciate you. I supported John Capella fully. But that doesn't mean I wanted to see Atlanta lose. I didn't support Frank Wren. I just thought Frank Wren was a fucking idiot. I told y'all, I alluded to this earlier. I didn't want Willie Taggart when he got here. I thought it was a step back, but he earned my support. The honeymoon with Willie Taggart couldn't have gone any better. As it relates to him bringing back the tradition, as it relates to what he was doing in recruiting, how he hit the ground running. Listen, my lasting impression or the image I have in my head of Willie Taggart is always going to be him running around the stadium after the first spring game. That was magical. Florida State had not been that excited since 2013. That was great. That was a great time. Quickly went to shit, but I still remember that image. He did everything right. He earned my support. I'm just saying Mike Norvell's going to have to do the same thing. Doesn't mean I'm rooting against the guy. I want him to win. If he's successful, the direct beneficiary of that is Florida State. If he's successful, they're successful. He got his work cut out for him. The administration needs to do their job to make his job as easy as fucking possible. I fucking hate this administration. I hate it. They want us to believe that Mike Norvell was the guy from the jump. No, the fuck he wasn't. Don't insult our intelligence. Don't lie to us. He was not. You probably interviewed him first. You probably interviewed him last. But to insinuate that he was the guy from start to finish, you a motherfucking and a goddamn lie. He was not. There were too many other people you spoke with. There were too many other people you vetted after you spoke with them. There were other people you wanted. Mark Stoops told people close to him, hey, he removed his name from contention because he said that he had the feeling that Florida State wanted to go big name hunting. He's not the guy you wanted. You didn't send out a Renaissance letter asking for X amount of dollars, asking for people to pour into the program for Mike Norvell. If we're being honest, let's just call it ace and a spade a spade. You didn't pay Willie Taggart $20 million to leave a month before the season to hire Mike Norvell. You didn't do that. I'm saying all that to say this. Wake the fuck up. Give this man what he needs to succeed. Because if you don't, we'll be right back here in 2 or 3 years. Now, I'm going to assume he would not be held to the same standard as Willie Taggart, meaning that if he does fuck this up, and he does have the potential to because of what we won't have next season as it relates to talent on the football field, he is going to get more than 21 and 22 games, which isn't fair, but I get it. Fair is a place where you judge pigs. If he's not going to be held to the same standard, at least, what's fucked up is, let's just say today, right now, the administration gets behind this guy 100%. Boosters get behind this guy 100%. Why did it have to come to this? Stop being reactive and be proactive. He's going to have to come in here and recruit against LSU potentially, Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, Miami, Florida. Sound like a broken record. I'm tired of saying this shit. FSU needs an infusion of talent. Give this man what he needs. Everything. He should have gotten a blank checkbook. I see, and he's hitting the ground running. He's already got his OC from Alabama. Guess that means Kendall Browse gone. I don't really know how I feel about that. Man, fuck Kendall Browse and Randy Clements. Randy Clements, if I catch you in the street, I'm fucking you up. I cannot believe Washington rode the bench. I was telling a good friend of mine this last night. I don't see how the fuck Washington rode the bench that long, and you were playing Abdul Bello and Juwan Williams. There ain't a soul on the planet Earth who saw that Boston College game and thought to themselves after that BC game that you had any level of confidence in Randy Clements. Because although I'm probably not sure of the chain of command as it relates to who plays and who doesn't, Randy Clements has a say-so. He probably doesn't have the final say, but he does have a say-so as it relates to these are the best 5 guys we have to put out here. Browse and Willie Taggart probably made the decision finally, whatever. I don't think I've seen an offensive lineman worse than Abdul Bello. I don't. And if there is one, your ass need to retire because you can't play football. Abdul Bello is one of the worst football players to ever put on the jersey at Florida State. You have a true freshman come in who, from what I was told, the moment he signed, he couldn't go out there and practice. But he was at campus. He was doing everything he could in the playbook, working on drills, doing everything he could to get himself acclimated to what college football life is like. This is what you heard when he finally started playing. He was clearly a better option than Abdul Bello. And I understand I'm digressing here a bit, but let me get this shit out of my system. God damn. Shit. How many times you saw a motherfucker run past Abdul Bello and he didn't lay a fingertip on the son of a bitch? Like, God damn. You understand this is football, right, boy? You have to be physical at the point of attack. Mike, I'm rooting for you, my boy. You have some things to do. The very first thing you have to do is fix this offensive line. I don't want to hear shit about the word address. I don't want to hear shit about we need to work harder. You need to fix this shit. If you don't, it'll be detrimental to your tenure here at Florida State. We can talk all day about Willie Taggart. I'm pretty much done with it after this, but his demise started with the offensive line. I explained to y'all. Shout out to my man Grant Long at NMD TV. He had me on a few days ago, and I was just really, I guess, explaining how the offensive line had a trickle down effect, how it affected so many different other moving pieces. Mike, you already know this. No, it's no secret. Fix the offensive line, my man, and get you a quarterback. Y'all want me to support this cat? He wants the support of everybody. Get in here and do your job, brother. You need a quarterback. Let's get some recruiting done. Let's make sure Jeff Sims doesn't go to Georgia Tech. Let's make sure Malachi Wideman doesn't go to Alabama or Georgia. These are teams who are going to be in the business for a wide receiver of his caliber, of his talent, and we all know they have the resources to get him. Salvage this class, bring reinforcements. That'll be your first job. There needs to be a resurgence at Florida State. And if Mike Norvell is the guy, then fine. If he's the guy, make sure you invest in him as if he is the guy. Give this man what he needs to be successful. We don't want to be Miami. We don't want to be Tennessee. We don't want to be Nebraska. And y'all know what I'm talking about when I run off these teams. They are going through coach after coach after coach. This shit needs to stop. Something needs to be done. And when I don't mean on the Mike Norvell level, I mean on the level of the people who sign these checks, the brain trust of Florida State. Get on the same page. Give this man what he needs to be successful. If you don't, we will be back here again having this same fucking conversation. Guys, as always, I appreciate your time. I can't express to you how much I appreciate you taking time out of your day to tune in and check me out. Leave all the comments you want to under the videos, man. I'm going to try to engage in conversation and get back to each and every last one of you. If I don't, blame my head and not my heart. Continue to please hit those like buttons for me, man. Continue to hit those subscribe buttons for me. Also, you can follow me on social media at the Hot Seat 19 on Twitter and on Instagram. That's all the time I'm giving you. That's all the time I'm got. Class is officially over. You are officially off the hot seat. I'll see y'all later.